Hi friends, welcome to episode 51 of Last Stitch Effort. My name is Pacasha and this is my podcast, whatever, vlog about using up my stash. I kind of moved the camera back a little bit so you can see a little bit more of it. Yeah, I don't know, this is it. It's been a minute, but things are just busy and you know how it goes. And I didn't really want to come on here without having a lot to share. And I do, however, I finished it all at the beginning, and then I haven't really been knitting a whole heck of a lot the last week or two. A little bit, but not much. But anyway, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And I hope, if you're like me, that these little videos that people put out inspire you to use up your stash. I know it certainly helps me a lot. I like just regular knitting podcasts. It is hard to watch acquisitions. I get a little bit jealous, but at the same time, I have some really beautiful yarns, and you probably do too. And so it's really good to use those up. Let's see. A lot of my the way that I calculate things is based on retro clod. I know a lot of people use Claude's metrics as a good way to measure what their progress is. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my numbers. I am realizing that I didn't put a project on here. I don't count anything out of my stash until I'm absolutely finished knitting. The knitting, not necessarily the finishing, as you'll see. But anyway, so right now I stand at 54,683 grams of yarn. That's not including spinning fiber. Now once it's spun into yarn, then I add that into my, I don't know, totals, whatever. So my number in Ravelry, so I'm also doing like entries in Ravelry. Everything should be entered in Ravelry like accurately. So even though I'm using up yarn, I'm really not finishing yarn. So that number is still at 337. And that's even including, if I include this other project that I forgot, that's 60 more grams out, but that's still 337, which is kind of a bummer. So anyway, the 54,000, oh God, I thought that was like I misspoke, but no, that's the real number. If I divide that by 50 grams, which is a typical like unit of yarn, that's 1,093.6, we'll just say 1,094 balls of yarn. That's a lot. So making progress, but it's still a lot. So let's just move on to finished objects. I think the first one I'll show is this. This one is finished, although not finished because I haven't added buttons and I haven't clipped the ends. They're all woven in, but it's not clipped. But this is a hand-spun sweater that cardigan, whatever, that I made. Standing on a stool. I don't know if this is going to be smart. So I don't have buttons, but I do have this little stick that my husband turned for me, just to hold it in place for now. But I just want it as like an over a dress layering piece, so I'm probably not going to have it buttoned very much. I don't mind that it's low. That was a miscalculation on my part, but I don't really care. I have a nice like turned edging here that I think I got from Gudrun Johnston. I think it was from the Hobbit. Not the Hobbit Fest. Audrey and Unst vest, which looks very hobbity to me. Anyway, so this stuff is all my hand spun, and it was from a patchwork kit from Hello Yarn, and it's just a 2-ply, and I just kind of mixed and matched whatever. And then I did stripes every now and then because I wasn't sure if I had the yardage to do a full cardigan, and I wasn't sure how long I wanted to do it. So I did these little stripes to break it up and to kind of stretch the yardage, and then also to do the button band, which there's one on the bottom, or a hem. Anyway, and the cuffs. I ended up having definitely more than enough yarn. I could have done it just plain, but that's okay. So I have been spinning for 10 years at least, possibly more. I don't want to think about it too much. This is the first handspun garment I've ever made. Like, I finished a big shawl a couple episodes ago. So I'm finally like actually knitting with my handspun besides just like mittens or hats or, you know, quick little things. And let me tell you, it's pretty satisfying. So this is my challenge to you is, if you are a hand spinner, use it up. It feels so good. You learn about your spinning, obviously, which you do with the smaller projects too, but it's just so gratifying on a different level. Like, that's why I'm kind of about the commercial yarn being in here, because I wanted a 100% handspun garment, but soon. Now that I have broken the seal, so to speak, the floodgates are wide open, and yeah. I did it! Yay! Okay, so yeah, so all I have to do is trim these things and find some sort of buttons. But that's not super important because, as I said, I'm not going to wear it as a typically, you know, buttoned garment. All right, what's next? There's a lot of stuff next. I think I talked about this last time, but ooh, don't fall. I also finished. Oh, I didn't really talk. So I used a combination of like Ann Budd's, her like really cool knitting books, you know, just the blueprint type books, Knitter's Handy Guide to Sweaters and stuff, just to get numbers and ideas. Like I said, I didn't really do the V-neck exactly how I wanted it, but it works really well, and I think it looks nice, and it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, so it's just kind of self-drafted, but not really. Like, I'm going to say Ann Budd had a lot to do with most of my knitting, not just this, but yeah. So I also finished a Nebula. This is going to look comically short to you, but how I wear it, it fits exactly how I want it to. So this is a Nebula by Andrea Mowry. And it looks very, very short in the body, but that's kind of what I wanted. And I used Confluence cotton by Farmer's Daughter Fibers and Bitterroot, which was a gift from my beautiful friend Alicia Edmiston Creations. I'll link her below. No, not links. I will just put names. You can look them up because some people are touchy about like Ravelry links and things like that. So anyway, not to make it hard for you, but to make it fair across the board. Anyway, I held it with Rowan Kidsilk Haze and Serenity. These are my leftovers. Yeah, so I made this because my friend Alicia has made, I think, a few of these, a couple at least. And I really wanted to I really like her recommendations. So she got me the yarn, so that's super special. And then we're also sewing buddies. And so I made a skirt. Now this needs to get ironed still. Like, it's been washed, sewn, washed again, and now it needs another ironing. This is a Henrietta skirt, so it's got like these, like, what are they called? I don't know what they're called. The little baskets on the side of bikes, that's what it makes me think of, like at the hips. Kind of gathered, and then just kind of just a regular skirt in the front, regular flat panel in the front. Yeah, so they do match. Oh, this is such a hard fabric, not only to match with, but just to look at. Like, the colors are, I don't want to say they're painful because it's very pleasing and lovely. It just is very tricky, like illusion, optical illusion. But yeah, so I got this to wear with this, or I made this to wear with this. And yeah, I'm probably going to need some socks, right, to match. So I guess that might be next. But I did finish that stuff. Once again, there's kind of half-ass finishing, like I need to trim some, clip some strings and iron that. And I think I got everything clipped on this. So that's good. So just in time. A nice springish colored knit, but I wear my things any time of the year, and this color kind of works for me any time of the year. Okay, I was gonna say that's all my finished stuff, but it's not. Remember, I had a pair of socks that I forgot to add to my totals. Well, it's this pair, which is, this is Felici and Time Traveler. This color is really old. These two balls have been in my stash for 10 years. So it was good to get those knit up. These are for my daughter, but I have enough to do another pair, but with contrast, the usual. So finish those too. And I use size zeros for my socks because I'm a very loose knitter. I don't remember what needles I used for the Nebula or for this. I think this was probably an 8 because it is a very large gauge type, or loose gauge type knit. But yeah, everything I did was kind of loose except for these, but they are still kind of loose because that's just me. So I think that's all my finished objects, and we'll move on to works in progress. I'm not going to talk about spinning. I haven't really done any spinning for a bit. Been on the move a lot, so I don't like to spin unless I have a chunk of time at home. Yeah. Anyway, the first project I'm going to talk about is this. And of course I'm in the middle of a row. But this is a Felix cardigan. God, in the middle of a row. That's makes sense. It's not even in the middle. It's like in the, yeah, it's at the first. It's right here. So Felix Cardigan by Amy Christopher's, I think, Savory Knitting. I've made one of these before. I think I'm using size 8s or 10s. I don't know. And I'm using the Fisherman's wool. So I used it for another project. I don't really remember what it was. And I pulled out the leftovers and I used it for this. And then I still have a ton left. So in an effort to actually get the types of yarn down, I'm trying to use up the entire quantity of certain Ravelry entries, because I feel like that will help me see more progress and be more encouraging. So I moved on to this cardigan, which I've been wanting to knit a little brown cardigan for a few years now. And I have plenty, and there's 2 more skeins in my lovely Goonies bag. So I would like to finish this yarn off relatively soon. So I'm kind of thinking once I finish a project, I'll just immediately brainstorm a project to use with those leftovers instead of putting them back in the stash, which I think most of us can agree that once it goes back into the stash, it's kind of like a graveyard until you throw it away or you donate it or you just forget about it and buy more yarn. So trying to keep that fresh and flowing, and it kind of itches that creativity thing because you really have to think, oh, do I have enough for this? And what can I combine to finish it and things like that. But I'm not going to be super strict about it. There's going to be leftovers that I'm holding off on for some reason or another, and that's okay. So just broad strokes, that's what I would like to try and do. So that's what I'm doing with that. So the next project I'm working on, I'm going to show you the really funny and embarrassing thing first. Let's just rip off this Band-Aid because it is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I have the Airt Mitts by Gudrun Johnston, and I was just kind of playing with colors. I was just grabbing colors that I knew I had the quantities for the small amounts that you would need for all the changes, and not really worrying too much about rules of proper Fair Isle, but still just enjoying my Fair Isle yarns. So this is the first mitt. This is Autumn Heather, which is Knit Picks palette. The next is Old Gold, which is Jameson of Shetland. The next is some kind of rose. Most of these are Jameson of Shetland, so that's, and then there's eucalyptus. I don't remember. I don't know. They're all like leftovers from a hat kit that I bought last year, a beret kit. So I made this lovely mitt. And obviously I haven't finished the thumb, but that's okay. I usually just knock both of those out once I have both of them done. I'm going to start at the second one. And I got all the way to the thumb. And I realized I made two right mitts. Two right-handed mitts. So do I just... I mean, I have to rip back that far. I have to rip back almost the entire, like all the hard bits of the mitt. Not hard, but... So these are in timeout right now. Oh, they're really pretty. Like, I don't know if... It's just not like a standard color combination. It's not a... I don't know. I just really like them because they're really rich. This is way blown out. They're really rich colors. But... I mean, do I finish these? Have I discouraged myself enough? Oh, I think these are on 2.25, possibly, needles. Yeah, I mean, it's all just gorgeous colors. Like, I mean, all colors are gorgeous colors, in my opinion. Okay, so that's just going to stay in timeout for a while because I don't have the heart to rip it out. If I get like stuck on the couch for some reason, like, I don't know, like I have to watch a movie with Mark that I don't want to watch or something, that might be a good time to just force myself to just do it. That's usually when I weave in my ends too, is when I'm like stuck and there's like a cat on me or something. Yeah. Anyway, I'm keeping that in Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. That's Amy Beth. She has a podcast here and I love her so much. And this is a really, really old fabric she did, but I use this bag all the time, especially in the fall. Like, it's not typical like fall colors, but I don't know, just the whole Red Riding Hood grandma's house thing. Just feels cute and fallsy to me, autumny. Okay, let's see, what are we doing now? I have a pair of socks going, and I think I talked about them last time. I think that the pattern is Passerine by Cookie A. Passerine, I don't know. I'm going to show you from the book. It's this sock. This was what I really wanted to focus on before all this other stuff came up. But I really didn't. Just the act of like getting out the book and finding where I was, and I mean, it's not even hard, but just my brain just was not doing it. But I am on the, oh dear, once again, middle of the row. I've done the heel turn on the first sock. So this is still the first sock. I was a little bit above the stitch marker last time I showed you, I believe. I would like to get these done. However, there's a lot of things coming up or that I have on my needles now that are taking priority, like real priority, not just I want to do them, like I actually need to finish some stuff. So I will explain with the next project. Yeah, so that's Pesserine in the book Occupied. I think this is out of print, but you can easily find it on like thrift books or something. And it's an excellent book. It's got a lot of techniques if you want to, you know, further your sock knitting techniques and styles and whatever. That's a good like thing, a good book to work through, kind of almost like a textbook. What else? There's a lot of those, and I could actually, maybe I should do that for an episode. Yeah, maybe specifically sock books that help with your techniques, because I think if you're looking at all the knitting techniques you can improve on or, you know, learn, let's just narrow it down a little bit. We'll just do sock. And I may have talked about some of those books before, but that's okay. Everybody, I don't know. It's still fun. It's still fun for me to talk about. It's fun for me to revisit myself. Hopefully it can help somebody else out. So I am doing a test knit for the lovely Gudrun Johnston. This is her Heritage Yoke cardigan. She has the Heritage Yoke pullover, and that's part of her the Shetland Adventures book that she did with Mary Jane Mucklestone a few years ago, which is a beautiful book. And I've made one project from it so far, but I do have yarn set aside for a few other projects. Anyway, the colors I have chosen, this is Holzgarn in Dark Apple. My contrast number 2 is Birch by Jameson of Shetlands. This is Spindrift. Then I'm using Buttermilk as my color 2. Sunglow. Once again, this is all Jameson of Shetlands, which is like the best for color work. I'm not so sure about the Holzgarn right now, but I did wash it. It's from a cone. I did like scan it up and wash it before. And then this is Salsa Heather from, it's just Knit Picks palette. But I didn't have anything of enough quantity that would really give me the colors I wanted. I'm not really that far into it. I'm on the 3rd little Peary pattern, which means small pattern on the neck. It looks crazy. Yeah, but it's working out really well. Like the pattern's fine. I have my little steek stitches in there, and that's going really well. And I think with the gauge, I'm going to have to just stick with one needle. I knit so weirdly. I don't know what it is, but I mean, that does kind of save some time. But anyway, these are the colors I'm doing, and I think they're really pretty. They're kind of retro. Now, in addition to that, I had a hard time choosing colors. So I thought I would go into my fabric stash and find a fabric that I liked that I wanted to make. I think I'm going to make a petrichor pinafore, which I've made a few times before, from So Liberated. And these colors, believe it or not, these colors like match really well. Like I just pulled out this, and I found a bunch of colors that I thought would be nice, but would also work with other garments that I have, because I don't like to have just one thing matching one thing. Like I like interchangeable things. So these are my colors for my petrichor. I'm going to get the green in there so you can really see. So green is really acting as my neutral. Yeah. But I like that the Salsa Heather is the Strawberry Thief, like strawberry. And you know, I don't know, I just think it works really nicely together. So that's my next. I need to finish this. I want to finish it early. We have until the end of the year, I think, but I want to get it done just so Gudrun has the information she needs to to go ahead and publish that. So that's exciting. So another knit, and this, I'm going to crowdsource a bit. I have the sweetest friend in the world who has some very severe health issues. And I mean, that's not the reason I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I love her and I love her family and whatever. And she just found out her daughter's pregnant with twins. And I'm just feeling the call to be, not to be a grandma, but just to show some love in a grandmotherly type vibe for these little babies. So I need to knit two things. They don't have to be matching because I don't think they're going to be matching twins. I'm not saying like fraternal or otherwise. I'm just saying the mother will probably dress them, you know, a little bit differently, but kind of cutesy the same, you know, but I don't know. And they're not like really a gender, you know, focused, you know, type project that I need, but I do, any suggestions that you have. I don't really want to buy yarn for this, and so this is kind of the thing. I've got some Lion Brand Kobu, and if I needed to buy like another color to kind of go with it or to make something a little bit different, I can do that. I do have a lot of, here's that pink Kobu. I do have some leftovers from my my Nebula, so that's kind of a purple color. I also have a blue and just like a tiny bit of the orange. I think it's like Come and Get Your Love is the blue. I'm not sure. I've got sock yarn. Like, I want it to be easy, but I don't want to knit with acrylic for this baby, even though I think these babies, I think they will live in a pretty warm like climate. However, this is the trick. Like, I'm thinking about, well, they're going to be born at this time of year, but they're also, because they're twins, they're going to be smaller. So that kind of gives me, I can make smaller ones for when it's going to be cold, when they may need something. Or should I just make some bonnets because everybody makes bonnets and booties and a toy? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm thinking a bit too much about it, but that's also kind of like what we should do to, you know, as older people of experience, we can put that mental effort in so that moms can just do what they need to do when it's like super stressful at the beginning, and they can just, maybe just that little bit of taking that off their plate, like, can help a little bit offset some of the, I don't know, the beginning mom things, beginning parent issues. I don't know. So like, if you have tried and true baby knits that you like to do, maybe I don't want to do like a big blanket or anything like that. I don't have the time to do that. I do need kind of a smaller thing, but something with more of an heirloom type quality, just something with a lot of love, or something that you know is greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions for that, that would be fantastic, because these are very special babies for very, very special mama and a very, very special grandmother to me. And yeah, anyway, I appreciate any and all suggestions or thoughts, or even just well wishes to this beautiful family, because they're awesome. Anyway, yeah, so I think that might be all I have to talk about this time. I'm feeling pretty good. I haven't added anything to the stash in a really long time, and if I have, it's been hand spun, so, and you've heard about it. I'm not sneaking anything in. I have a lot of really cool projects that I want to make, and like, definitely never enough time, but also not a lot of motivation lately, which is kind of, I don't know, this time of year is my favorite time of year to knit, and I feel like I'm dropping the ball a bit. Like not, you know, I'm not like pressuring myself, but there's just been some like interesting times in the last month where it feels like the world is a really heavier place than I can deal with sometimes. I'm sure a lot of you feel that way too. So I don't know, usually it helps, but sometimes just sitting there, it's like I just ruminate. Big stuff, little stuff, all the stuff. So anyway, I hope that you are taking care of yourself and finding ways to get through those moments. I'm doing my best and wish that for all of you. So that's all I have to say. Anyway, I will talk to you soon. Hopefully I'll have several things, little cute baby things to show you next time. Yeah, thank you in advance. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everything. Thanks for being here. That's important. Not here, but here. Anyway, love you all. Take care. Bye.